So what all the are the sources that were used by historians to maintain their account of history? What all the sources they used to refer in describing what history was during that time? Let's see what is that. Sources used by historians. They can be categorized into two forms. One is administrative records. The British administration documented every policy, agreement, or investment. This has led to vast records of administrative records that serve as a record of history. So Britishers, they were very keen on preserving all those official documents that they wrote to each other, that they had, that they maintained in their almost all their administrative buildings. So if there an administrative building during the British time, it will have all the accounts of what has been done in that area by the Britishers. What were the taxes collected? What were the letters that were exchanged from one city to another city? How there were things that were being resolved by the Britishers? What were the things, the grants that they were having from the England, and what all they were actually rendering as policy, what all they implemented as policy, what all there were reasons for that policy. So they used to maintain these administrative records very strictly. That is why we can see that all the administrative records after the British period began is there. After the printing press came, it became easier for them to collect and have copies of the things. So basically, we have administrative records for that. So the importance of these administrative records can be very well gathered by the thing that these administrative records were kept in each of the administrative buildings. They like to keep the accounts of whatever they were doing and whatever they were gaining and whatever they tried to implement on these people. The letters they had, the official records of something they had, they used to keep it all in accounts. And with the advent of printing press, they used to have copies of these, and they used to have their archives in certain offices as well. So that is one source by which the historians can generate an account on what happened during that time of period. Now there is another source that are surveys. The British government also conducted surveys to understand the population it was trying to govern. These surveys and their findings also provide information about the period in history. Now the surveys are very important because it was not just about people, it was about various things like what are the economical conditions, what is the geographical condition of a place, what all crops can be grown at some particular place, what all areas are suitable for transportation, and what all people are there in a specific place, what are their cultural needs, what is their cultural aspirations, how the society is living at a particular place, how progressive a society is, how progressive a city is, how maintained a city is, how maintained another city is. So these all accounts they tried to maintain by the surveys. They had decade-wise surveys, means the survey happened in every 10 years, and that survey is continued till date. Like today also we have our survey every 10 years of the humans. Obviously, they also took the survey of the population of a specific place where they where they tried to collect information of everything about a person, that is their caste, their sex, what income they had, or how many persons are there in the family, or what all occupations they were doing. So everything that was recorded in the survey went to the British. That made it easy for them to govern a certain area, because when you know about a certain area that you have to govern, it becomes easy for you to have those policies implemented to maintain that specific areas and the governance. Moving on, records produced by the administration. One important source is the official records of the British administration. Every instruction, plan, policy, decision, agreement, investigation had to be clearly written up. This conviction produced an administrative culture of memos, notings, and reports. The British also felt that all important documents and letters needed to be carefully preserved, so they set up record rooms attached to all administrative institutions. As said earlier also, in all their administrative buildings, they had a specific record room where all the records of the administrative process, the notes, the letters, the memos, the notings, everything was preserved there for future purposes, for reference for the future governors, or for the reference for the historians, for reference for better governance. So they gave importance to the records in a very serious manner, and that also kind of helped the historians to gain what all agendas they were pursuing, or what all the things they had in their mind while they were governing a particular state, what all talks did they do while they were in governance, or what are the things that were there in the mind regarding the people. So at least from a certain perspective, we come to know about those things that were there in the mind of the Britishers. Obviously, these accounts cannot be maintained in the same level for the people, because people did not generally, like us also, we do not generally keep note of everything. It is difficult for gaining it from the people. So Britishers, at least, they had this thing which is important for historical purposes. The village Tehsildar's office, the collectorate, the commissioner's office, the provincial secretariats, the law courts all had their record rooms. Specialized institutions like archives, museums were also established to preserve important records. In the early years of the 19th century, documents were carefully copied out and beautifully written by the calligraphists. So we can see how important and how what level of significance was attached to the records by the British administration. They had, for every important administrative building like the collectorate, the commissioner's office, the secretariat, they had their record rooms. The specialized institutions were formed, were established to preserve those records, such as museums and archives, national archives. They were also established to maintain these records. In early years of the 19th century, documents were also copied out by the calligraphists. So we can see that what kind of importance did the British give to the records of the administration. By the middle of the 19th century, multiple copies of these records were printed as proceedings of each government department. So after the advent of the printing press, it became easier for the British officials to have multiple copies of a single letter of the memos. So of course, it was easier for them to access, for other officials to access these memos. Here we can see the National Archives of India in the 1920s. So National Museum and the National Archive both are located in a specific place which is very close to all the Indian administrative buildings, and that shows that what importance did these buildings hold to the British minds, because they established these buildings, the records building, near the archives and the museums, near the places of importance, near the places where the administration was actually controlled. So this is very important for even the Britishers and for us as well, for the historians as well, to create a certain timeline to have certain facts based on this. So that is why it holds an important place. Now the surveys. The practice of surveying also became common under the colonial administration. The British believed that a country had to be properly known before it could be effectively administered. By the early 19th century, detailed surveys were being carried out to map the entire country. From the end of the 19th century, census operations were held every 10 years. So the surveying was very, very important in the British era. Obviously, they wanted to, as already said, they wanted to know all about geography, the topography, the crops that could be produced in that area, what all people that resided in that area, what all occupations they had, what are the skill set that they specialized in. So with all these, they collected information in order to govern better, in order to hold the place in a better sense, in order to provide them with better services, or in order to gain profit in a better sense. So the surveys were being carried out throughout the 19th century, and it happened every 10 years. It is still happening now. So we can see the importance of surveys here. Limitations of the official records. These official records only tell us what the officials thought, what they were interested in, and what they wished to preserve for the posterity. So obviously, because of these official records, we know about the mindset of the British people. We know about the mindset of the officials and how they perceived a problem and how they suggested a solution. But we do not know about the daily livelihoods of the people who dependent on these policies, or who dependent on these administrative decisions. So this is a record that is also biased in for a particular set of people. For the rest of us, for the rest of the people that were there in that period of time, we do not have such illustrative records. We do not have such descriptive and very strong records of their livelihood. So that is one limitation of these official records, that they accounted only for a particular set of people, that were the government officials. The practice, okay, that's the wrong slide. Let's move on to, as printing spread, newspapers were published and issues were debated in public. All these sources, however, were produced by those who were literate. Hence, they do not tell how history was experienced and lived by the tribals and the peasants, the workers in the mines, or the poor on the streets. So, for the common people, we have certain areas where we can gather the information from, like the memos or the diaries the people left of their account, the memos they used to write of their daily livelihood. But those people, they were literate people. They knew how to write, they knew how to express their way of living, they knew how to, recollect and express what all the things that they have been experiencing. But for the illiterate one, the poor ones, the ones who did not know how to express what are they feeling, the ones who did not know how to write, how to read, or how to express their opinions, we don't know anything about them. We don't know an account from their perspective. So that might be a black area where we do not have any information. We have the information that are based on a person's perspective when they saw their way of living. Like, for example, for the tribals, the peasants, or the poor on the streets, we only have accounts from those persons who used to see them, who used to perceive them from their point of view, not from the point of view of those poor people and their the peasants or their livelihood. So that is another limitation of the official records. Moving on, official records also did not mention what did not happen from their point of view. Like in this picture, it is seen the British person who described this picture gave description that the mutineers came and they killed and they looted the properties from us. But obviously, from the point of view of mutineers, their act was for the cause of independence. So there comes a difference in perspective, and from that difference in perspective, we have to base our history. So we take all the clashing examples, we take all the clashing perspectives, we take all the clashing history and record of events, and then we make history. And then we categorize those things into the characteristic events that happened during that period. Now let's come to the questions. True or false? James Mill divided Indian history into three periods: Hindu, Muslim, and Christian. That false. He divided the Indian history into three periods, that is Hindu, Muslim, and British. Official documents help us understand what the people of the country think. Official documents help us understand what the government thought, not what the people think. So that is also false. The British thought surveys were important for effective administration. That is true. Because of the effective administration thing only, they started the process of surveying. Now, many of you might confuse in, this Christian thing, because if a layman can bifurcate, he can bifurcate the Hindu, Muslim, and Christian period, because most of the Britishers, they tend to come from Christianity religion. But that you should not do, because it is very important that in history you go word by word of what something has, of what a person has described. So it should not be Christian, it should be British. This we should remember. Coming on to question 2, what is the problem with the periodization of history, Indian history, that James Mills offers? So James Mills offers a very orthodox and very biased way of periodization of Indian history, as he categorizes the Indian history on the basis of religion, that is Hindu, Muslim, and British. He failed to take into account the other people who were from different religion, who used to reside during that time in the reigns of these Hindu or Muslim or British rulers, the governance. So basically, he failed to take account of the common people, the normal people who came from different religions, and therefore a period cannot be called just as Hindu or Muslim on the basis of the rulers that were there and who belonged to those religions. There were other people as well, and he failed to take account of that thing. That is the problem with the Indian history that James Mill offered. Question 3, why did the British preserve the official documents? They used to preserve the official documents for a future purpose, for if they want to refer to some things that happened in earlier phase, or if they want to continue something for an effective administration of some place, or for better communication possibilities. So that is why, for the future purposes, like for the historians to know from their point of view that what all the things they wanted to have in their governance. So these are all the reasons that the British may why they may wanted to preserve the official documents.